Hello, a lovely good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you're joining us from. This is your girl Red Rose Eben Missionary, and today is day number 17. And I am excited that you are here with us. The journey has been amazing, and God has literally been faithful to us. So we continue to talk about my life, and like I said, the aim is to showcase the faithfulness of God in my life, and I hope that you're learning one or two things. I can write and talk about stuff from all those topics, but I don't have enough time. Maybe I'll do a book. I don't know. So today, I want to talk about my life as a public health specialist. Maybe some of you want to find out when I decided to become to study public health, and where did the love come from. All right, and let me talk about that today. So first of all, in the other video I talked about how I spent I didn't say that obviously, but I spent over 10 years working with young people, youth-led development, sexual and reproductive health, HIV, advocacy, programming, and so on and so forth, everything surrounding youth and young people. And so maybe before that, I want to mention that when I was at high school, I didn't have an idea what I wanted to do, and I had a lot of friends that were very sure about what they wanted to study. Others would say, from grade 6, I knew that I wanted to be a doctor. Others would say, me from grade 2, I knew I wanted to be a nurse, And for me, I was like, oh my God, I don't even know what I want to study. So what I would do is when my older sister says I want to be a journalist, I'm like, I want to be a journalist, I want to do this. All I knew is I loved math and sciences, so I was hoping that I could do something around that. Obviously, I didn't want to become a doctor because I didn't have the heart to, I don't have the grace and the boldness to be a doctor, So, but I had no idea, but I needed something that would help me to help people. As usual, God knows how to do this thing, when you pray, He has a way of directing you in the paths that you should go. So when I joined the previous work, which was Restless, it exposed me to the work with young people and so on, and I loved it. And I was actually, thinking whether I should do teaching or not, because I spent time with young people, talking, facilitating, training, and I just loved that. So one of the things I picked up was that I loved people, but I was also good in science and math. So, how do I put the two together? Until after that job, I joined an organization called Zambat, which is an organization I'm still working for, which is exciting. I joined as a district coordinator, and, Zambat does a lot of health research, research for development. So when I joined Zambat, I was supposed to sort of manage the study, one of the biggest HIV trials in the world, which is HPTN 071. You should look it up. It's like the biggest study, that they've ever conducted. And I was meant to sort of coordinate that and manage it at site level, like the research manager at site level, and then that literally exposed me to research, ethics of research and so on. And I loved it because one of the things I loved was that I was still exposed to people, even though I was based at the hospital, different hospitals actually. At one point I was in Kitwe, the other time I was in Lusaka. Different hospitals, ensuring that people who are sort of, infected are supported and so on, But I love the fact that I wasn't the one, apart from doing an HIV test, I wasn't the one who was supposed to sort of do other things like collecting samples, apart from like the HIV test and collecting sputum samples. I wasn't supposed to do more than that, like drawing blood and so on, and I loved it. I was like, I think I belong here, I'm helping people, interacting with people, but I'm not so much into medicine. I'm so much into dealing with people, and I loved it. And I identified when I joined, so what I do is when I join any organization, I look around and see who I can learn from. So when I joined, there was this lady that, that inspired me so much, so much, and that's Dr. Kwame. Like, I just loved how she did stuff, and she studied and so on. She's a medical doctor by profession, but she did masters, PhDs and stuff. I looked at her and I was like, oh my goodness, I want to be like her. And guess what? I just made an appointment with her, and she was so warm towards me, and she talked to me, she told me what I wanted to do. Before you know it, she told me about public health, and she recommended schools and so on and so forth. And yeah, that's how I started, and I just loved it because everything I was doing, for me, I love working. I love enjoying whilst working. I'm not the kind of a person who likes to separate work from life. I like it. I like to work and, obviously get a paycheck at the end of the month, but that's what I love. So yeah, so that's when I started studying public health at UNILAS, and that was just amazing, and I said, my goodness, this is something that I love to do, and it's something that I think God has called me to do. And up to now, I'm still in the field of, this is like my 8th or 9th year, doing different research, ranging from, treatment to providing sexual reproductive health services to young people, so on and so forth. And I've had an opportunity to be on, I think, more than 3 studies, and it's just been amazing. And I think one of the other things I wanted to mention is, for me, I just don't like learning and packing what I learn. I like to implement it. So when I finally decided that I was going to be a public health specialist, and I studied and stuff, one of the things I used to do is, every time I learned something new from school, from uni, I would come back home and implement it. You should hear what my husband will say about this, because so when I learned stuff, I was like, okay, from now on, no junk, no fast food in this house, no too much cooking oil in this house. My child won't do this, my child won't do that. And that has literally been beneficial. When we first started, obviously, my husband was a big fan of fast food, and fizzy drinks and so on. And I'm thinking that, if I didn't implement what I learned, like by now, I think our son was going to be eating sort of pizza every day and fried chicken and jiggies and so on. Thanks to public health, like I learned that, and non-communicable diseases, that we learned, implemented that, child malnutrition and so on and so forth. So what I'm trying to say, or some words of encouragement to you, is, number one, whatever profession you decide to, to stay in, it's always important to check in with God. And I can assure you, if it's something that is in line with what God has called you to do, I can assure you that you're going to be satisfied in that area. Like for me, I don't have to struggle, and I've seen that whatever experience I've accrued, skills from my experience at work and my school, like I always apply it in my home, I always apply it in my ministry, and in different areas of my life when I have an opportunity, So I don't believe in doing things that are contrary to, what you're called to do. If you're doing things that are in line with your, values, your purpose, you'd find that you will enjoy to do that. Number 2, it's always important to implement what you're learning, I've seen people that would talk about one thing and do the other thing, I believe that, like, obviously it's common sense that if you're a doctor, for example, and you're smoking, the smoke will not leave you because you're a doctor. Like, you still have those heart diseases and so on. So if you are a doctor, it's always important to follow what you know. So for me, I put it upon my heart that everything that I learned from public health, from research and so on. In fact, let me say this, that through public health, I've managed to help a lot of people that were struggling, to accept the HIV status, and just connecting them to people that can counsel them, people that were scared to test. Like, I was that kind of a person who'd help them to do that, and now they are happy and so on. And I think more so it helps me to be a, relevant minister of the gospel, that is open-minded to helping people beyond saying Jesus loves you, but directing them to places where they can get help. I can go on and on and on and on, but I'm glad I call myself a passionate public health specialist, and I'm hoping that I should major in, mental health and so on and so forth. More on the other side. Thank you.